Council meeting for the city. Today is a solemn day as we all honor and think about 9/11 and 2001, which was a horrible incident. I know today I've thought about it quite a bit of where I was that day and what was happening and how much it changed our world after that event. It was just a very solemn thing to think about, and I know this past weekend, we had a wonderful event and a wonderful parade honoring those first responders and soldiers. But, you know, just this day alone is just a time for us to all think about this. Of course, the slogan is that we will not forget. And I hope that everybody has had that discussion today and passed it along with their family members to make sure that the next generation remembers what happened, so that we don't forget. There were lives that were lost. There was so many that sacrificed for us and for the people in that building that was just above and beyond their call of duty. And we can't thank them enough for their sacrifices. And I just wanted to take a moment to say that we do appreciate that. And our heartfelt sorrow goes out to their families who are still mourning to this day for those losses. So, but with that in mind, I do want to go. We do have a somewhat of a busy evening tonight, so we'll move on with our council meeting. We don't have anybody here, so tonight, Manuel Tamez, would you do our invocation?
I will. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, you are a good God, gracious always, and sovereign in all things. We thank you for this land that you've given us to dwell in, our city of Lamar, and that you watch over it. Lord, I just pray that you would bless us with wisdom and discernment as decisions are made for our community, for our city. Lord, we're thankful for those men and women who will step up and be a part of the city council to make decisions. And I pray your blessings upon them and upon the community. We're thankful that you're a part of our lives. We pray these blessings in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Councilman Duffy, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the time is now 7:03 p.m. I'll call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Joe Gonzalez,
Here.
Mike Bellamy.
Here.
Jerry Jenkins.
Here.
Kurt Crespin.
Here.
Mike Duffy.
Here.
Manuel Tamez.
Here.
Grant Bates.
Here.
Rob Evans.
Here.
Christian Swartz.
Here.
Lance Clark is not, but Don Stearman.
Here.
Okay. We've all had a chance to look at the consent agenda. There was one change that needed to be made on the consent agenda. The payment of bills were inside the payment of bills was an inclusion of checks number 97,248 all the way to 97,351. Those checks were approved at the last meeting. So we would need to make a change or amendment to the consent agenda to approve checks from 97,352 to 97,464. Do we have a motion to make that change?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to amend the consent agenda. Do we need to vote on that? All in favor, signify with an eye.
Aye.
Pose same sign.
Unanimous in favor of.
Okay. So we'll move into the public comment portion of the meeting. This is the audience participation portion of the meeting. During this portion, anyone may speak on any subject that does not.
So was
A
that
point of
were
point
we
of reference?
amending the agenda
Ah,
or were we approving the consent agenda? I
why don't
took
we
it
do
as
that
an
as an amendment? Since you took it as an amendment, we'll
Sorry.
take that as an amendment.
Okay.
So now we can do,
consent.
if we can do consent agenda approval with the amended items. Do we have a motion on that?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so we had, just for those that are watching, we had a point of order. There was confusion on the amendment of the agenda and the approval of the consent agenda. So now we are re-voting on the consent agenda. And we have a motion and a second. Are there any final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay, now we will move on to the public comment portion. During this portion of the meeting, anyone may speak on any subject that does not appear on the agenda. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each, and that is at the discretion of the council. Is there anybody who would like to speak to the council tonight? Okay. If you'll just state your name and address for the records.
Yes, Darla Specht. My business address is 1204 East Olive, Lamar, Colorado. I was just curious, is there an attachment for item number 8 on the agenda? The agreement to amend the amendment agreement for the city administrator's contract? It's
I
not
did
included
see
in the
one on
packet.
there.
Right. So is there a copy of it we can look at?
I have a First Amendment. It's the one that we're gonna approve for my contracts.
That's number 8 is the amendment to the city administrator's contract. Did anybody on the council get that item for review?
You guys all gave.
I know we had reviewed it before in executive and stuff, but as far as in your packets, I meant.
I mean, I've got it for just from what Lance, what we reviewed with Lance.
Yeah.
Okay, okay,
So I can go mix.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay.
That's all I
Yep.
needed. Thank you.
okay. All right, so is there anybody else who would like to speak to the council? If you'll just state your name and address for the record.
Name's Michael Hernandez, 10th and Cedar. I want to have condolence for Ms. Jenkins about her loss.
Thank you.
Mayor, I just wanted to ask some questions about this Burger King building. Did the city buy that building?
No,
Okay,
no, we have not.
because I noticed we had some city, town employees over there cleaning
Yeah.
that up.
So what happens in the city, just to answer your question, and usually we don't answer during this time, but I will answer it, is that that was one that has not been cleaned up for so many months or so many weeks. And after if there's been no cleaning for so long, the city goes in and cleans it and charges them for it.
Okay.
Because we're fortunate.
I seen the cleaning, which I thought it was okay, but
Yeah.
I seen another thing where they really didn't pick up the trash. You know, they just mowed it and just kind of left.
Okay.
Just little eyesores like that, you know, I mean.
Yeah.
So the township didn't buy it, but they're gonna get compensated for that down the road,
For
right?
the clean. Yeah,
Okay.
we've done that on a few.
Okay, and about 3 months ago, I was here and asking for a drug task force. You know, we've already lost some people in this township on the fentanyl. And I don't know what it's gonna take for that to come in this little township. You know, we're gonna lose more kids. It's doing really damage to this community in all phases of families. We're looking in the hardships in the drugs and even in the homes in this little township. And what I'm talking about is making $15 an hour, even $20 an hour. Who can pay $150,000 home? You know, I'm sure, but that's all going to be, people going to be living in hard times, which we see it already. And I just want to say that I appreciate the township got the weeds taken care of in Lamar. Lamar's looking a little bit better with the weeds got taken care of. A while back, I did come back and I asked for a cement crew and a painting crew. Maybe they can incorporate one of them maybe next year where they can turn around and put more paint around the buildings of this town, around our community building, where people can't park. I noticed when I walked up to this township building here, I could see little plazas in this building. So I know Mr. Guy from Public Works is really, really busy, you know, but I want the best, like I said, for this community. You know, I don't have no kids, but I sure like to see a drug task force here, you know, and I just want the best for everything here, you know, and thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is there anyone else who would like to speak to the council on an item that's not in the agenda? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to the rest of our agenda. The next item on the agenda is the city treasurer's report. Kristen?
The only thing that I had to report tonight was that we did have a meeting with the USDA people regarding getting the process started for the wastewater treatment plant. So they gave us direction on which grant we need to apply for the to get the process started and do the environmental clearances and things that are going to have to happen first. So that was a good meeting. We met today with CDOT, moving forward a little bit on the archery grant. We haven't received our contract yet from the Colorado Parks and Wildlife, but we were working on the access permit with CDOT. So that it was a very good meeting, and feel like we're moving forward on that one as well. So those were the only two that I had to report on this evening. So unless you have any questions for me.
Okay, council, do you have any questions?
I have none.
I have one.
Yes.
How about the sidewalk grant for the up and down Savage and 9th or 8th and whatever? How's that progressing?
Yes, I did get information from CDOT, the revitalization group, and they did move our grant forward. I haven't gotten the final paperwork on it, but for the west side and the east side, they're still working on that. The contractors are still working as they're working on the street. So, but yeah, I'm encouraged. So as soon as I get something, I'll get it brought back to you. But there was some movement on that. So
Perfect.
I think between that and the other grant, the TAP grant that we got, that we'll be able to complete that west side. So that'll be exciting
Thank you.
there. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay. Any other questions for the treasurer before we move forward? Seeing none, we'll move to the city clerk's report.
So the July sales and use tax collected in August was $416,353.37, which was up 3.95%, or $15,828.83 from 2022. Our year-to-date collections were $3,470,175.31, which is up 5.72%, or $187,791.80 from 2022. So we continue to trend upward.
Good.
That's good.
I have just a brief election update. So our ballot content was submitted to the county on August 6th in both English and Spanish. So that's what will go on the ballot. I don't know if everybody in the community has seen, we did put a post out regarding who was running for mayor and the 3 wards, and it is on our website. So currently, who will be on the ballot for mayor will be Kurt Crespin, Bill Becker, Patrick Christensen Jr. Ward 1, we have 2 people running, Brent Bates, Robert J. Brook. Ward 2, we do have 2 positions in Ward 2, a 4-year term and a 2-year term. We have Jerry Jenkins, Mike Duffy, Mike Bryant, and David Zavala running for those positions.
Can I ask, how will they determine which one gets the 2-year and which one gets the 4-year?
It's a little bit of a complicated procedure. So if Jerry gets the votes, she'll automatically get the 4-year term. That is her term.
Okay.
Okay. Again, if Mike Duffy gets the votes, he will automatically get the 2-year term, finishing out the remainder of Oscar Riley's term.
Okay.
If it comes down to a combination of one of the 2 of them and one of the others, it's going to be by majority.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Ward 3, we have one position and we have 2 people running, and that would be Joe Gonzalez and Shayla Mata.
Okay.
Is there any questions from anybody?
I don't have any. I don't have any. Not here.
No.
Okay.
Hey,
All I have.
thank you very much. All right, we'll move on to the city administrator's report.
All right. Let's see.
My will at this.
Yes, you can use Kristen.
Yeah, thank you.
There you go.
Okay, so September 20th, we're gonna do it at for Coffee with Rob at Daylight Donuts, and I'll spring for a donut here as well. That went over well last time. We got a lot of participation, so I'll spring for a donut as well. September 27th at Rivals. We have a Ports to Plains Conference in Eagle Pass, Texas. It's probably still 105 degrees down there, but September 13th to the 15th. We have the Chamber Farm Market this weekend Saturday at 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. The Cannonball Run, September 17th. 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the chamber. We have a city council budget work session on Monday, September 18th at 6 p.m. here. A job fair, September 20th, Lamar Community College. The Wellness Center is the morning session, 9 to 12. And that's for students. And afternoon session is 1 to 3 for the job seekers. The 2023 CML Fall District meeting we're going to have here at the Tavern 1301, Thursday, September 21st. Starts at 4 o'clock. We'll have a reception. We'll have snacks and before dinner, and we'll have our presentations afterwards. It's going to be a great thing for this region. A lot of visibility and a good presentation on the successes of Lamar. So good one. I have a projects update. Now I sent the information only, so this is draft, but I have, the work plan was mentioned here a few weeks ago about the annual work plan. And my first year's one is included in on our budget letter that we send out, the bottom part. And so I gave you guys an update on some of those big projects. And just to list some of those projects, it's not the complete work plan because that also includes my infrastructure stuff that we're going to be doing. But the projects that we had listed were the continued reconstruction of the Cow Palace, now the historic Palace Inn. I gave an update and I won't go through every single detail about each one of these projects, but bottom line is you see the success out there. The 1301 is a great success. It's open for lunch now too. And I know that this is from all over. That's people are coming here. And I know that we have a few people are going to stay for that CML conference. Are going to come down and either come the day before or stay for the day after. So the next project I had listed on there was the Arby's restaurant. Now we've had a couple of developments and the mayor gave us some of the situational changes that happened at the last meeting, but it is still a go. They are still moving forward and it's we're at the plan stages and getting the plan reviewed and getting, she's going to hire as much as possible local. So she's trying to arrange for that. And I think that it's still, nobody needs to get discouraged. It's still moving forward. The main cafe has definitely had a lot of movement lately, and it's mainly dealing with getting the funding to be able to do what we need to do here. So we've had DOLA, several agencies to gain the funding. The neighboring businesses are having some input into whether or not, some of the negotiations we're making, but the main cafe is at a point now where we're trying to figure out how to get it cleaned up. The archery course, like she mentioned today, the North Gateway extension we're going to have on the north side of the river. We have some money that's going to be coming available, but the place we're at right now is CDOT negotiations on getting access to it. So we could start building sometime next year, depending on Parks and Wildlife, I guess, when we get money availability. But right now, our biggest hurdle, it's not a roadblock, it's just a hurdle, and it's getting access to it. Let's see, the Cobblestone Hotel, as you can tell, success. We did that this year. We had it was a great example of a public-private partnership that we had. And I know at the time, if you came out and listened, it was a great example. We showed how it can be done. And this is a model that we're using for several other partnerships that we're working on. The continuation of the copper projects with LCC. I know that a few people may have heard, we're going to the second phase of this, or the second stage. First one was a renovation, and this next one will be a complete build from ground up. So if we can start, letting people see how this can work, we will be able to have more housing that's addressing the biggest need we have in the city right. The construction of the Scores booth at the Escondido soccer field. Just today, we had a couple of comments on how it was a great thing for the city. They had some suggestions for improvements like additional seating and the whole goal was always to get a start and improve yearly. So the Scores booth at Escondido soccer field was done because we put it out for bid twice. We couldn't get anybody within our budget, and things still cost, the prices still went up, but we were able to do through the city. The CDOT Phase 3 Highway 287 project, everybody sees that. You know what's going on there. We have continual conversation and coordination with CDOT and Castle Rock Construction on notifications, door hangers, stuff like that. So if there are problems, we still have a pathway to get requests, or if you say, hey, look, I have a concern, we continually and always are talking to those people. So they are communicating with us. And she just addressed the sidewalk projects on East and West Main Street. So those were some of the big ones. I know that we mentioned the city buy app. We are right now looking at ways to increase our usage. And the people who have given us money to do this, to show the worth of their dollar. And so I know that is an ongoing, that's our second year. I don't want to say problem, but it's our goal. It's our project. It's something that we have to get better at doing, not just say, hey, we got a great idea. Now we need to use it better. Notifications, things like that. Another big project, an internal project that I had, was the revision of the employee personnel manual. As you guys remember last year, and it was implemented this year, was the going back to accruing your leave, your personal time off, that kind of stuff. We went to you get it if you earn it. And so, and we did allow people more flexibility, 3 extra months to use it. Okay, so you wouldn't, it's a lot, 90 more days for you to use any of your leave. So there's going to be less people losing leave. And try and tie things together. Like the mayor has said multiple times, we're open for business here in Lamar. We want to show people that we have policies and procedures that encourage only, not only residential housing, but we want business to come in. We've got incentive programs, we've got URAs, we've got all kinds, we work with PEP, we have all kinds of different ways for people to come in and take advantage of our geographic location, the benefits we have here, and all the amenities that we have in Lamar. So I just wanted you guys to see that of all of those that were listed, all of them have been completed, or they're going to carry over till next year, but none of them are going to be failures as of right now. So all those things that we discussed and put on the projects for last year they're going to come through. Okay, so that's what I had for a projects update.
I think one thing you skipped over was the Walmart grand reopening ceremony that'll happen on Friday, September the 22nd at 9 a.m. They had reached out to me and asked if we could be there at the grand opening. So hopefully council members can make it for that grand reopening for them. It'll be nice to show their appreciation for their reinvestment into the community. Also on that CML Fall District meeting, you kind of touched on that a little bit, but this is kind of important because the CML is Colorado Municipal League, and for our region, our district region, we have Lahana, Los Animas, Springfield, Crowley County, quite a few different communities. So we're hosting this fall district meeting at the Tavern 1301. So I've reached out to many of the different communities and invited them personally, but we're continuing to do that. I think it's a great opportunity for us to showcase our community and what we're doing to these other communities who look forward to seeing what we have. So, and it's also just a good showcase for us, especially with this new Tavern 1301, and we're looking forward to that. So if there are any other communities out there listening tonight or watching, I hope that they'll get their RSVPs in soon, and hope to see them there at that meeting. Do we have any questions for Rob from the council?
Jerry.
I'm sorry, Rob.
That's okay.
I've seen where people have complained about not enough parking at Escondido Park when they have the youth soccer. What about the property the city purchased? What are they gonna do? Did they?
We did open it up.
Yeah, we
When
did.
we open it?
Well, immediately it was access was capable. We don't have it made so buses and stuff can go through there right now. It's just wide.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this was for the youth program, and I thought, well, I'll ask and find out what we can do to help it, because a lot of them were complaining how it was a horrible trying to park.
It is, and we're working on it. And I think that the plan from the beginning was get a hold of because we were trying forever to try to get a hold of the land first, start using it, find out exactly the best plan forward. And next year, we're planning on, any of the service improvements and stuff that we're planning on doing, we're going to try and get a hold of it.
Okay.
And for those that are listening online tonight, what we're talking about is at Escondido Park. The city did acquire an additional piece of property that links the two parking lots together. And in purchasing that, we're able to open it up so that the traffic can flow through from one end of Escondido Park to the other. So we're just talking about how the plans are for moving forward.
And my next one was, and I don't know how this could be even dealt with. It'd have to go through Kyle, the law police force. One gentleman was saying something has to be done about the loud cars in Lamar. The kids are seeming to do it more with the loud ordinance and stuff. And I didn't know how to answer that, so I thought I'd bring it to you and find out. And I know it is, because it seems like 9 o'clock at night on 6th Street and probably every other street, you hear this going down the road.
It's a common excuse
Right,
that we'll do better when we have more police, but we will do better when we have more police, but we can also pay more attention to it. And when we give our weekly, notices and say, hey, look out for this, we can always make that as one of our points of, priority that we give to them.
Okay.
So.
and I think I have.
Kyle, can you speak on that as to, I may not be 100% right, but if a person sees one of these individuals and gets a tag number, can they not file a complaint and appear in court and the ticket be brought to court?
Absolutely, report it. Sometimes it's better than writing tickets first time. Sometimes people take their vehicles to a mechanic and they say, hey, I want my vehicle loud, and the mechanic just makes it loud, maybe not always following the law. But yeah, that's absolutely something we can do. We can, at a minimum, go contact the registered owner of that vehicle and say, hey, got a complaint about the car, and we get it corrected that way. But again, we can write tickets on it, but sometimes education is a better way to go in the beginning before we start taking everybody to court.
So what I was trying to bring up is community involvement would help the officers to curb this problem as well.
I'm approved for 18 officers at this point. If everybody in town was to call in suspicious things or problems they were having, that gets everybody involved. Like you said, if we have 7,000 people in this town looking out for bad things happening, we're going to make our jobs a lot better, or a lot easier to do, rather than us trying to find them and see them and catch them doing it. So yes, I appreciate that very much. So community involvement is very important.
Thank you.
My next thing, Kyle, is I know this road construction is horrible. And yesterday we were going to dinner, lunch, and literally 2 semis were racing to see who was going to get to the other side on that lane first. That was horrible. I mean, you could just see them flying down the road. And then I don't know what about the car accidents. There was one this morning on Cedar and Main, and I know I about got hit because the cars going south aren't paying attention. I don't know what you guys can do, but
It's a mess. I mean,
yes.
we're just gonna have to fight it for hopefully another 6 months or so, and then they're gonna be done. And then we can get back to normal. I don't even take Main Street anymore.
Right.
I just completely avoid it because you can't get anywhere
Right.
because there's, 4 lanes of traffic are down to 2. So I just avoid it completely. And I think that's probably why you're hearing more traffic on 6th Street too,
Right,
is because people are avoiding Main Street. We can try, but to catch up to those semi trucks, we can't get to them
right.
until the other side of town.
Mhm.
But we can sure try to stop that. My office sits right there overlooking Main Street, and I have my windows open in the morning, and you can hear it.
Right,
You can hear the cars, but also I've noticed also is the hawk light is working exceptionally well. People are slowing down for that hawk light going through there.
mhm.
Thankfully, I was really worried about that this year.
Yeah.
And I talked with the principal about it at the middle school. We were both concerned about that, but it's worked very good, thankfully. But
Okay,
yeah, I can let the guys know.
okay, thank you. And my last complaint, not with you, Kyle. The curve on, Mike had brought it up, I think, or Joe, Olive in Maine where you turn by the Max. I thought they were gonna darken that yellow spot so cars don't park there. Somebody's gonna get their car totaled out right
Right.
there.
And again, I'm not gonna, one of the reasons why is they're still doing the roads while the milling machine and doing the roads. So we can get to marking those things and remarking them better there. And is that where they had that one van there for a while?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right,
Yes.
yeah, right close to the corner.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay, that's all my,
That's okay.
sorry.
nope, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
If you have, if the council has any questions, now's the time to ask. So anybody else have any questions for the city administrator?
Jerry, thanks for bringing a lot of that up because I was going to, and you beat me to it. I did have one other quick question for Kyle. I had a concern brought to me about a motorbike in an alley. Well, no, this was a week or so ago, a couple weeks ago, over there on Mayhew. Something about a motorbike in an alley. Again, is this something to where they can get a tag number and turn in a complaint?
It's probably gonna be a motorcycle without a tag number. like a
That
dirt bike.
probably, I believe, is it,
But if
yes.
they can give us a good description, yeah, it's something we can go, again, we can at least talk to the people who own it or are riding it.
And I think
um,
this is probably minors on a motorbike.
Yeah, there was
In an alley.
one, I heard one this morning about 10 o'clock over in that area somewhere.
Yeah,
The guys were out looking for it, never found it, I don't believe so. But yeah, they can call it in, absolutely, we can stop and talk to them. If they're out on a public roadway, that's a lot different than being in an alley. Is it legal? No, but are we gonna probably just have a conversation rather than writing a ticket if they're in an alley? Probably, but if they're out on the roadway, it's too dangerous for those to be out on the roadway, because they don't have the signals and lighting and everything else that's required by the law. But in an alleyway, we'll still have a conversation.
again, you say education is the big thing?
Yes, absolutely. So, and young people are gonna be young people,
Mhm.
and we don't want to rule with an iron fist. We
Sure.
want to educate them and tell them this is why you shouldn't be doing this. If we contact them again, it's probably gonna be handled a lot differently than education, but the first time is probably just gonna be education, because we were all young months and we all did things that we probably shouldn't have been doing.
Yeah.
And so sometimes just don't do that again is much more effective than writing them a ticket and making them go to court.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Kyle, since you're up here.
Yeah.
I know we've had some meetings over the last few weeks with the PD, or the last few meetings. We had a few work sessions with the PD, and some of the discussion was addressing drugs and what we were planning on doing. And since the gentleman had brought it up earlier, I know your plan was for adding new officers next year and working more towards that. Is that correct?
Right, so I believe we got one in the budget for next year.
Okay.
An additional officer and an additional code enforcement officer is what the request is at this point.
Okay.
So yes, that will eventually be there, but it seems like we keep getting struck by the injury bug. I have 2 guys out with babies, 2 out on injury leave and another one out on some medical stuff. So I'm back down 5 once again, plus 2 open slots. I'm down 7.
Wow.
But the good thing is soon that's all going to come back, or the vast majority of that's going to come back. So,
Okay,
but we're struggling right now to keep the streets covered.
but you are working towards finding a solution to start working on it more dedicated.
Yep, absolutely. That the whole goal is to get to that point. But I've got to have patrol covered first. That's the backbone of the agency. Because if there's nobody out there to take calls for service, all these other things are going to go unaccounted for. So we have to have guys on patrol first, and then we go with all these other support type things.
Okay, thank you. I just thought I'd try to get a definitive answer where we're at.
Yep.
So,
Thanks, Kyle.
You bet.
thank you.
One other thing I had for Rob, specifically in your projects update, anything more on Lamar Inn?
We are continuing negotiations, and there are a couple of different options, and it all hinges on a plan to get it cleaned up. No matter what goes on from now on, it has to be cleaned up through for the asbestos stuff. So
The asbestos.
it's all gonna go through there.
Okay, it's just a matter of time, I know, but it's, when people come through town, I hear that a lot. It's like,
I think
why
we had
don't
3
they?
different meetings today. People have asked us about that. So to be honest, that's the answer I have to give right now is we have several options, and it will be the first thing we have to solve is getting it cleaned up.
Okay,
Thank you.
And that's something we've been working on for 2 years now, 2.5 years with the owner, trying to find a solution for that. So, but with it being a private property, it's hard for the city to go in and do that, or to use taxpayer dollars to clean somebody's private property is very difficult as well. So we've been trying to be creative with solutions, but nothing yet. So we're still proceeding and working with them on it, but.
I have a question. Rob, any update on the meeting with the Ute tribe, and when can council expect to meet with them as well?
Yeah.
They told us they were working on when they can come back down. I didn't get the word back yet, but they said this week, or they would try to get back this week sometime on when they would, not they would be here, but when they could come down. So I know that it's on, the ball was hit back to them, and so they're trying to determine when they can come back down.
Thank you.
I have two things. I'll make it quick. So the Escondido lot, the problem is they had 6x6 posts on the north side of that area. And what the city did is they took the cable down and the posts are still there. So people have to go between the posts to actually utilize that parking lot. So I'd like to recommend that we get the posts out there as soon as possible. The other problem is there's a chain link fence on the east side of that separates still. So when people come into the main entrance of it, they can't access that lot because the chain link fence is still up. So then they're all trying to turn around in that parking lot and get back out on the road and go around, or they go down this little tiny alley that's next to somebody's house, and it's barely big enough for a Volkswagen to fit through, let alone.
Definitely not any of the big vehicles.
So if somebody could possibly take a look at it and assess it a little better.
So the chain link fence is what I thought you were saying had been taken down, but it hasn't been yet.
The cable.
It hasn't.
Okay,
The chain link's still there.
okay.
And I appreciate us getting the signs. When are they gonna start going up?
They were supposed to go up last week. They will be up this week.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had.
Okay. One more try. Anything else for the city administrator? I'm pretty, this is our time to ask him, so.
I guess I'll chime in one more time on Escondido Park. I was out there on Saturday morning. And I get, it's been said before, but I actually witnessed where somebody was trying to back up and they tapped a car just because they were trying to avoid people walking through that parking lot or sitting down. I don't know what we can do about it, but it's just, again, I emphasize that is there a way we can stripe, even though it's a dirt parking lot, stripe in the way
Not
there
straight.
isn't any way,
Not yet.
because everybody kind of parks wherever.
Well, I
That
mean,
makes it tough to get in and around.
nobody wants anybody to get hurt, and we will try and, remind everybody, please be careful when you're parking. But as of right now, I mean, we're getting extra difficulties because of our success and the usage of it, and
Sure.
it's a great thing, and I will deal with as best we can on getting the surface down that we can then get the markings up there.
Yeah.
But I can't do anything during the season right now.
Sure, I understand.
And I guess the other thing that we need to remember is that the idea behind Escondido is that we get it moving and we get the fields developed. And then we were gonna add in the scoreboards with the announcers booths, which we did this year. We have the master plan for our Parks and Recreation that should be coming next year. And the goal with that Parks and Recreation master plan is to determine what else projects like Escondido needs, so we can put them in the master plan and we can start applying for grants. So we're looking at lighting or bleachers, any of those things. We talked about additional bathrooms or a concession stand, but the idea of having that Parks and Recreation master plan is for the community to let us know or let the council know what they want in their Parks and Recreation for the next few years. And if they want bathrooms there or a playground there or bleachers or whatever it may be, that's the time to let us know inside that master plan when they have the town hall meetings. So important for everybody to get involved when that comes out next year. Let the council know what they want. So.
Yep.
Okay, we will move on to the next item on the agenda, which is appointment to the Lamar Utilities Board. This was initiated by Lamar Utilities Board Mr. Clifford Boxley has resigned from his term on the Lamar Utilities Board. His term was set to expire August the 1st of 2028. According to our council policy, all vacancies of the city boards and commissions are required to be advertised in the local media. A copy of the position vacancy was advertised with the local media as directed. There were 2 applications were received for this position. And the board is recommending the appointment of Jill Bellamy from Lamar Utilities Board to serve the remainder of the 5-year term, which will expire August 1st of 2028. You have the applications there in front of you. But that would be their
Recommendation.
recommendation.
I make a motion that we go with their recommendation and appoint Jill Bellamy.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
It's unanimous in favor of with Councilmember Bellamy abstaining. For what reason?
She's my cousin.
Family, okay. Okay. Next item on the agenda is schedule a public hearing for the special events permit for the Lamar Chamber of Commerce. This was initiated by Linda. Would you like to speak on that?
Yes. Lamar Chamber of Commerce submitted an application for a special event permit to host a beer garden at the Oktoberfest scheduled for October 7th, 2023 from 11 a.m. until 10 p.m. Public hearing is required for Lamar Liquor Authority Board, City Council to approve or disapprove the special event permit. I'm requesting that we schedule the public hearing for September 25th for review of the special event permit to Lamar Chamber of Commerce. And it will be posted on September 14th in Lamar Ledger and on site.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay. Agenda item number 3, fiscal year 2023 to 2024, Colorado State Grants for Libraries. This is initiated by our director, Sue Lathrop. Sue, good evening.
Hi, everybody. Well, the libraries are doing really well, or the library is doing really well, and we had a great summer. Right now, I'm here to talk about our annual request for state grants for libraries. Every year the state of Colorado gives us money to spend on materials for the library. Usually we spend it on databases that we couldn't ordinarily afford, some extra books. And last year we also bought STEM kits, which are science, technology, engineering, and math kits that kids can take home and actually do projects at home to learn about. This year, the projected amount is $5,975, for which we will purchase more materials. I'm requesting that we authorize the mayor to sign the grant and agree to the treasurer making drawdowns as we spend the money.
Make a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the mayor to sign and approve the signing down request as required. Any discussions or final questions? Seeing none, please vote.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, Sue.
Thanks, Sue.
All right, agenda item number 4 is a done quick claim deed for the 20-foot easement at 1708 and 1710 South 9th Street. This is initiated by Stephanie Strubbe. Stephanie?
Evening, everybody. So I included a map in the agenda item. There's a 20-foot strip of property between 710 South 9th and 1708 South 9th Street that's been used as an alley for quite a number of years. And the Dunn family had kept the property mowed and up. Well, recently that property at 1710 South 9th was sold and that 20-foot went with it. At that time, LC Dunn approached the owners and was able to purchase that 20-foot back with the intent of giving it to the city to continue to be used as an alleyway. All the surveys have been done. Lance has reviewed the paperwork and helped with the quitclaim deed. And LC Dunn is here and Rod Dunn, if we have any questions for them as well.
So I know this has been a issue that you've been dealing for a while. Oh, you can't? Okay. I was saying, I know it's been an issue that you've been dealing with for a while, trying to get this, that parking or that driveway opened for you. Because people use that, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay,
Well, basically what we like for, we do at the city, we just want you guys to maintain.
okay,
Pat Mason told me he could do that if I give it to the city. This is some time ago. I begged to buy this property for 30 years at least.
Yeah.
I finally got it bought. And that's the only thing, they hurt 5 or 6 people up there. Because their garages are in the back and
right,
they have to come out. The alley is pretty bad up there, guys. And then if they can come right across by where the shop is. It's been that way since what, 1982?
Okay.
It's been there.
I have a question. I'm looking at the photos here and I don't see any encroachments here of fences, trees, power lines, anything of that sort of nature there?
No.
No?
Underground utilities, water lines, sewer lines.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
okay. And she already said that Pat was okay with maintaining
We
it,
discussed
so
it with
that's not a
Pat.
problem.
He said that he would probably be doing it anyway, so bottom line is he said it was okay.
Okay. Does the council have any questions?
Got one more, and this would be for the attorney. You, Lance had a chance to look this over and there was no issues there with that. Is that true, Don?
Yeah, and I talked to Lance and I also read the deed and attended paperwork. It's my understanding that a O&E was done on it. There's no liens on that strip either, so I don't see an issue with that donation to the city.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, what is the council's pleasure?
I make a motion to accept the quit claim deed from This Is Done and authorize mayor to sign the final quit claim.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any final discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Thank you very much, Elsie
Thank you.
and Rod.
Thank you guys for the
Thanks.
property.
Thank you very much for the property and we'll make sure to take care of it.
Appreciate the city. Like I was gonna do because we tried to. When you can't stop and jump that.
Right.
And everybody has. Figure out another way to get in and after their money.
Well, we appreciate it and I'm sure all your neighbors do as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to our next item on the agenda. Re-enrollment of GSA Access Program. This is initiated by Chief Burkhardt. Chief?
Mayor, Council, good evening. So this is, again, like Mayor said, just another re-enrollment application for the GSA Access Program, if you're not familiar with it. This gives us access to federal surplus property with both the feds and through state also resources. We pay about 1% of the original acquisition cost for the property, and that just covers some of the paperwork end of it from the Fed side. I know the fire department's benefited from it as well as the PD and the rec department have as well. So again, whatever the feds have, well, we would have access to it. It could be generators to medical equipment to, I think Kyle's got exercise equipment and a fridge. So just some good journal stuff.
Okay.
I have a question. For you. Now, these are items that you're gonna be looking for that are not in your budget that's presented.
Correct, correct. So typically what I utilize is my operating, whenever I purchase some of the stuff, yeah. So we got some suction devices for the ambulance service, that are about $2,000 a piece. And, ended up paying $20 for them. So it's just, yeah, plus
Awesome.
shipping, so.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to have the mayor sign all documents.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Pose same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 6, approved to apply for the Walmart grant. This is initiated by Anthony Latour, but he's
No,
not here
this
tonight.
was a fairly simple request and a recurring one. I know that this Walmart grant is something that we didn't want to make sure that we're stepping on any toes. Kristen's still going to be doing the controlling and have to do the application. She's got her account set up and everything like that. So bottom line is we can take you or make use of this. And it's allowing us to apply for these grants. We wanted to have the same for you to allow us to apply and the normal procedure. I think right now, are we still asking for just for him to, we need permission to apply first?
So we haven't assigned a project for it yet. We just want to have the.
Anthony wanted to look into doing maybe some scholarships for kids that couldn't afford registrations
Leagues and programs.
for the leagues and
leagues and
programs.
programs. Okay.
Yes, and we'd set up, he's been working with Rob on the logistics of that and what that would look like. They'd offer so many. And so we're just asking, we've used this grant before. The police department has used it for their it's not National Night Out anymore, Friday with the Force, right? So, and Walmart actually approached Anthony and said, are you guys going to apply for some of this money? So it's to help the
Right.
community and programs within the community. So I'm just we're asking for permission to apply. And we're going to apply for that up to 5,000 and then see what we get. And then we'll bring back whatever award we end up getting. So.
Okay.
I think that's a wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful idea to go with Anthony's.
Yeah,
Because there's
we'll
a
help
lot of-
all those that either couldn't afford or the
Exactly.
timing is, maybe they have multiple kids or whatever, but we want to help everybody participate.
I make a motion to approve the request to apply for the grant.
I'll
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any final questions?
Kristen, you're actually gonna fill out the application.
Yeah, sir.
Thank
But
you.
it's an online application that I'll submit online.
Thank you.
Any other final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor with an eye?
Aye.
Pose same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Agenda item number 7 is a community development update from our community development director, Anne Marie Crampton. Last week, I kind of sprung this on her, so I apologize, but I was asking her if she could give us an update. We've been trying to do updates from the different departments and Jag, you're it. So we thought we'd check with your department, see how you're doing and fitting in with the new job.
Yes, well, thank you very much for the opportunity to update you on what's occurring in community development. I think you're aware that community development is not just me, it's Stephanie Struby in the building department, Martha Baird Alvarez for the events planning and Main Street manager, and Gloria Madrid as our marketing and communications coordinator. So we're hoping to create a dream team of people who are highly motivated, and we're all in various stages of learning our positions. Some of us have been with the city for a while, but we're all new to our positions. So we're all in some kind of learning curve. It's just how steep is that learning curve? But hopefully we'll get there together. Within that, I wanted to give you an idea of some of the areas of influence within community development, and that would be brownfields, that community and economic development, historic preservation, you're familiar with the Main Street project, Main Street and Lamar Partnership Inc., and then urban renewal. In addition to building inspection and messaging for the city. So I have this handy dandy list of about 30 little things that one or all of us are working on. I don't want to spend time going through all 30, so I'll try and be very brief. In brownfields, we are expecting the Ayers Associates, our consultant on the Brownfield Assessment Grant, to come visit us during Oktoberfest weekend. They'll have a booth, or we'll have a booth at Oktoberfest, hopefully in a very prominent location so people can learn more about brownfields in Lamar, Colorado. We have a substantial assessment grant. We are still identifying projects, and the great thing about this is not only do we identify projects, help the owners with the phase 1 or phase 2 or both assessments, but there's a mandatory redevelopment component to it. So Ayers Associates can help them re-envision what that property will become once the suspected asbestos or lead is no longer in that building. So it's a great opportunity. I would encourage anybody who's thinks they might have asbestos in a property or lead in a property, just talk to us. It's not a mandatory, you must clean it up. It's a now you know, and sometimes now you know you don't have it, which is the even bigger breath of relief. But that will be in the Oktoberfest, and then they'll be here a few days afterwards, and they may present at a work session, or they may be at council to see you. On the other, well, we talked about identifying additional properties. We have a lot of money to spend in the city of Lamar, and I hope we don't turn that money back. Talking about brownfields, Rob explained kind of a brief overview about what's happening on the main cafe, but I really want to thank our EPA rep, because he is allowing us to take some of our assessment grant money and get organized when it comes to the main cafe. We've got parts and pieces of assessments and designs and construction drawings and all kinds of things that have been done in the last probably 5 years. And because of staff turnover and because they time out, we need to really look at those documents again and set a clear path for what is happening next. Rob is absolutely correct. The next step after getting ourselves organized is for the abatement of the main cafe. There is an additional wrinkle in the main cafe project, and I didn't know it as a city council member, so it might not be very well understood. But the second floor of the main cafe is apartments, right? So it actually has a common hallway and common stairs with part of home and season. It's one big area. So that causes a little wrinkle because Home and Season owns half of what we would like to redevelop as apartments. So we've discussed that wrinkle with the owners. I think Ayers Associates, a consultant, has a plan that's doable, and we'll get there. And the plan is that Home and Season actually donates their side of the second floor to the project. Thank goodness for them for that project and for believing in it enough to gift that to us. But that's how we're going to get things done, again, because we're individuals and business owners are willing to meet us halfway and to get that project done. Otherwise, it would have been a horrible situation to try and develop that
upstairs. Our building official is really hard at work. She's a force to be reckoned with. You may have seen the email or documentation that she received her commercial building inspection certificate. Kudos to her.
Congratulations.
And not only did she do it, but she's one of the few who have. Let's just say that. And she's not done learning yet. She's kind of like me. She takes on additional projects as assigned. And some of those projects have been work with Escondido, work with a gym floor, work on the Shore Art Center park, which you'll be seeing that there's additional lighting and heating out there. So when it gets cold or you have an event that you need additional lighting, it's very well lit now.
Pocket Park, right?
Yes, Shore Art Center Park. I apologize. And with that, the community development team is going to touch up the paint in the Pocket Park because it's needing a little work, and we'll be doing that on the 15th. If anybody wants to see us doing manual labor. On the community development section, we are finalizing the residential development app. It is done. We finished the app, and we think we have a finished resolution to present to council next council meeting.
So this is for the residential incentive agreement?
Yes, residential construction and development.
So for the council members that are fairly new, back in 2020, we developed a residential development incentive agreement or plan that we were offering to developers to come and build homes in Lamar. This was a way for us to try to slow down the high prices of rent and the high prices of housing that have just skyrocketed in Lamar. This is just caused by the whole supply demand thing. We have so many people wanting to move here from the Front Range and there's not enough houses. But at $300,000, they see that as a steal. So they're paying that kind of price. But what we need is more housing. So that's what this residential development plan is for. So I wanted to describe it to everybody. That's all.
Yes, and we have a person that's waiting for that app so we can apply for some assistance to develop for properties that we've already subdivided.
Good.
I have a question on that.
Yes,
Is this going to include somebody who wants to do a home
so there is
renovation or remodeling? You know,
no, this is new construction.
New construction. We didn't develop one for remodels, so we could. That could be something we discussed, but that wasn't in the plan.
Right. And the development side is for people who are developing 3 to 20 lots, to give you a perspective. So if they're just doing a house or two, it's not necessarily the incentive for them. But if they're increasing our stock, then we want to incentivize them.
And I think that just to clarify for the people that are listening and that are watching, and for Mike, the reason why there's a difference between us incentivizing new builds compared to a remodel is because most people don't realize that 80%, 90% of incentives are in-kind work. They're discounted fees, discounted permits, discounts. We don't stroke a check for them. We don't write them a check for $5,000. It's not coming out of our budget. These are in-kind processes that incentivize them to come and build in Lamar. And when you do a renovation of a house, we have a smaller permit fee. So it's not very significant on a renovation of a house. Whereas when you're doing a new build, you have all the infrastructure work, you have plumbing, the groundwork, taps, curbs and gutters and everything else. So we have a lot more flexibility on what we can do as in-kind work or discounts of the fees and things like that. So I just wanted to point that out because I think there's some misconceptions out there that we're just writing checks left and right, and that's not the case. This is more in-kind work. So.
Yeah, and I would half step back and say that there is a ramification to
our city budgets when we discount fees or so Kristen's been trying to put money into budgets for some of those. When you approve an in-kind project or in these incentives, that it doesn't hurt the individual department's budget as much.
Right. I just wanted to clarify that. That's all. So thank you.
So I'll try and move faster. Common business incentive application. We've talked about it, the business incentive application between Powers County and the city of Lamar. It's one change away from being live and it's ready to go. And that would include the URA. So we'll need to figure out when they get a paper copy and when they can access the online application. Probably the biggest task on my list in the next year and a half will be the comprehensive development plan. And we are waiting for the final signature, right? The executed agreement to start that. And it will, I guess the timeline will start within probably a week or two after that, right? We're creating incentive agreements for Cow Palace Inn and Tavern Inn to finish up the incentives that we awarded them back when they started those projects. One of the things since I'm the president of Powers Economic Prosperity, the BEAR Committee, which is Business Expansion, Attraction, and Retention, has been looking at Southeast Colorado Airport as a true opportunity for economic development hub. And they're having ongoing discussions about, like, first of all, we need to figure out how we need better signage to and from. There's some bottlenecks in it. There's some opportunities for improvement and maybe look at those people who fly into our airport, that they're potential customers for our downtown. So how can we capture some of those visitors? And then how can we recruit businesses to have operations at the airport? And how do we get more buildings there to make that happen? North Fork Farms. Kind of remember that.
I actually had a conversation just last week.
Yes.
I think it was last week with Tim Hume, and he wanted to congratulate you so much.
Oh, thank
and
you.
give you very good recommendation and
Yes.
said you did a great job helping them move forward. So I'll
Yes,
let you-
yes. That's part of my job is to help people connect, right? So one of the reasons why he couldn't pull the trigger on that project, he had put in a scale house and a scale and a dump pit, but he could not fully utilize that property because somebody else owned the rail spur and the rail car unloader. Two pieces of equipment that made the property kind of almost, well, not useless, but less useful. So we negotiated a conversation between the owner, which was Brandon, and Tim, and Tim was able to purchase those assets. June or July is when they finally closed on it. And he said he is finishing some things up, installing some more equipment, and he will be asking for reimbursements. I only asked him twice. But he will be finishing up that project, and it will be a viable storage facility at this point. In this fall, it'll be storing sunflower seeds for a sister business, which is Colorado Mills.
Mhm.
So we have our first. Okay, next.
And for those that are listening, just to clarify it, North Forks Farms project is the old coal domes
Yes,
that were being used for the power plant. We had leased that out to North Fork Farms so that they could repurpose those domes for a business that will create jobs. And it's good to see that moving forward and having some success with that. So
yes. That's
hopefully
great.
that'll work the way we want.
Yes. So that was economic development side. on the historic preservation side, we pretty much took a 3-year nap, to be honest. Historic preservation has been comatose, and you approved renewing all of the board members, and the 3 of them, plus Martha and I, attended a Saving Places on the Road training in August. It was very helpful. We came back with some good ideas. I think Martha understands the tie between urban renewal and historic preservation. And so we'll be moving forward. It's always a struggle to figure out how you go forward and which priorities are the biggest priorities. But we do have some. Main Cafe absolutely has a component of historic preservation. So there's lots of projects that I'm doing that have a historic preservation tint to it. But we are a CLG, certified local government, which is a very great honor. And we were on monitored status for that because of our comatose. So we are working our way off of monitored status, and we should be back in the fold for 2024. I wanted to give a shout out to Martha for her successful corporate cup. It's a great opportunity to put a little light on LPI and help them do some fundraising. They'll actually be, LPI will be doing a strategic planning session with DOLA in October. And since I see the need for the LPI board and the city council to talk to each other, I'm hoping that we can invite the city council to that meeting. So we're all one group working together. And we know where we're headed. So I hope we can get that done.
Add to that real quick.
Sure.
If you get an opportunity to go on the main Facebook page for Colorado Main Street, you'll find the other Main Street communities in Colorado, and give yourself some great examples of what LPI could do with proper cooperation with the city. So if you get a chance, go look those up and take a look at some of the things that the other communities throughout the state do with their Main Street program.
Our CIG videos should be back anytime. We've submitted final changes, and we're just waiting for them to make the changes and send them back. Our community engagement guidelines, the types of meetings we have, how community members can engage at those particular meetings. You should have received a draft of that. And I think that's it. Urban renewal. We talked about urban renewal. Martha's got multiple projects in action, and we're working towards, since she's juggling a lot of projects, how to manage those. So when a city council member wants to know about a particular project, she's just got it right there. And that's what we're working towards. So that is my update. Do you have any questions?
I do.
Yes.
So since it's in my ward, it's kind of a pet peeve of mine, and so far it's safe and it's stayed clean. So I'm really impressed. But the old packing plant.
So it is one of the brownfield projects. So I think we have a motivated owner on that particular property. So as soon as he gets his assessments done, I think there will be movement on that. Now, again, he's entitled to that redevelopment design. So I think he may take advantage of that opportunity. So be looking for what Ayers Associates thinks about what that property can. And I think they're planning to take down most of those buildings and redevelop something new. But it'll be interesting to see what they come up with.
So this is part of your dream team, as you call it, reaching out to citizens with blight properties or them coming to you to ask for help or direction?
Absolutely. And understanding, the city has absolutely no interest in condemning properties, right? We don't want
Your property.
more properties. So we want people to help redevelop their properties. And like I said, sometimes I had a call from a business a few months ago and they said, can you help us? They ended up doing the assessment on the properties and one property had no asbestos and the other property, they had a very clear, easy plan on how to mitigate it that didn't cost a great deal of money. So knowing is better than that fear, right? So, and when you do a level 1 or level 2, that does not go to the EPA unless there's a major contamination. And there's none of those in Lamar.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anne-Marie.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Anne Marie? I don't have any. I think that's been one of the most interesting things over the last couple of weeks is as I'm talking to people, they give me suggestions of, oh, we should do this or we should do that. We need to get somebody for the city to do, keep our ball fields busy and keep things happening. Well, that's what our events planner is for. Or we need to get somebody that can work with businesses and get them started up and make it streamlined process. That's what our communications director is for. Or we need to get more information out to the public and let everybody know what's going on in the community. That's what our community development director is for. These are all things that have been put into place and, I got to commend you. You're doing a great job on that. And I think it's just great to have an opportunity to hear what you're doing. So
Well, thank you. I'm
There's a lot of
excited
good
about
stuff
what I'm
happening.
doing. Thank you.
Thank you for the update and
Okay. Next item on the agenda is amendment to the city administrator's contract. Over the past couple of months, there's been a few points of clarification that were requested by the city council regarding the city provided vehicle benefit and the updated definition of allowable usage of the vehicle. The city attorney and the council have discussed these modifications to the contract and have proposed an amendment to be added to the city administrator's contract. Basically, to simplify it, there were some concerns from the community as far as the usage of the city administrator's contract. When we signed the contract, it was very open as far as saying he was able to use it for personal use. But with IRS requirements and with limitations that we needed to have for insurance and insurability and things of that nature, it was important for us to narrow this down and make sure we were doing things by the book. So the city did, or the city council did work with our attorney. We've engaged our city treasurer to make sure we were reporting everything properly as far as that is a fringe benefit. We even talked with our auditor, is that right, to get information on what we should do, or is that just you working on that?
I reached out to Lance.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
And Lance had talked, our city attorney had talked to CIRSA, our risk insurance company, as well as CML, the Colorado Municipal League, to get information on what other communities have done. So we did get it narrowed down to clearly define the usage and who pays for what. And I think we got a final thing. Council, did you want to say anything or are we good to move forward?
See the final draft.
That was the one that was sent to you by email.
No changes were made.
No changes were made. Yeah, from the last draft that we had as a council through our sessions that we had with executive sessions, so. And I know there was an individual that asked for it earlier, a copy of that draft. Darla had asked, did you have any questions on it or anything? I give you the opportunity since you asked for it.
Oh, thank you, I appreciate that. Well, there's a typo.
Oh.
in the replacement paragraph. The 11th line down. The first word is asked. That's what it's supposed to be.
You see that there, Rob?
possibly?
I was pulling it up.
Shall be responsible for any and all.
Assessed.
I thought maybe it was.
No, that's not what the word we wanted to put in there.
Yeah. We will get that corrected. So with that correction, yes.
So basically, the city is responsible for all of the charges, and then there'll be some kind of IRS reporting.
Correct.
Is that W-2 or 1049, 1099?
W-2. It would go, according to the IRS, we would record it and submit it as a fringe benefit with his W-2.
And then it's been covered by SERSA with regard to non-city employees in the vehicle.
Yes, as long as he's the driver, he is covered. Yep. You bet. Well, I know we didn't have it in the packet for you to see, so that's why I gave you the opportunity. Okay, council, what would you like to do tonight?
I'll make a motion to approve the amendment to the city administrator's contract.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the amendment to the city administrator's contract. All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Jerry?
We have split vote with council members Bates, Duffy, Gonzalez, Jenkins, Temez, and Mayor Crespin voting yes, and Councilmember Bellamy voting no.
Okay. All right. So the next item on the agenda is miscellaneous items. Do we have any miscellaneous items to discuss or to go over?
If I can bring up one thing,
Sure.
next council meeting will be on my anniversary. So if we could try to make that one go a little quicker, it might help me out. I'm supposed to take her to- I don't know.
We can take her to dinner. Yes. There were a couple of questions online. One was asking about the main cafe. The main cafe is now owned by the Urban Renewal District, so that's why it's a little different, more of a different project or owned by the city. So that's why we were able to use these brownfield grant funds to help work on that. That's why we're getting more grants. That makes it a lot easier for us to utilize those funds compared to the Lamar Inn, which is a privately owned and held business. So I wanted to make that clear for everybody. The intent was with the URA, the Urban Renewal District, they received funds for improving properties and increasing property tax values within that district. The Urban Renewal District Board had determined to take this property, renovate it, lease it out and put it back into service as a revitalized property. And that's been the goal since we've acquired it, is to try to bring that back to life, have a good restaurant there downtown that we can lease out to another business and have one available, as well as have affordable apartments upstairs in the loft area. So I just wanted to answer that question that somebody had online. Anything else for the council? Nothing. Okay, there's a lot of great things happening. We just got to keep moving forward. So thank you all for being here tonight. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. Have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of.
Our next meeting will be Monday, September the 21st, 25th at 7 p.m. We hope to see you then. Thank you.